There we go. We are back. We are live. Welcome, everybody, to the Precision Elite Training Studios. I'll be your host today, Coach Lalonde. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the little notification bell, and let's get you guys on our team. So, team, welcome back. Welcome into week number 4 of the free coaching that we're going to be offering you guys. I'm excited to bring you some more really great information that's going to help change your life. And to some of you, this is always, the first time hearing it. And for some of you others who have heard it before, it's always to reiterate what you're doing and to help you hone in on some of the areas you may have, lost a little traction on. So as you hear things that are going to be valuable to you, you're going to want to write these things down. So get your notepads, please. Grab a notebook, put it beside you, use your phone. If you're someone who's using phone notes, do that. Make sure you're getting some notes in there. My first question is, how are you doing with the homework? We had week 1 where you were cleaning out the cupboards, cleaning out the kitchen. How are you doing with that? Have you got a clean environment? Are you succeeding? In the second week, we started talking about the pillars, the training, the nutrition, the sleep. Have you started exercising? Even at a minimal amount. A little bit of work each day can really add up to a lot. Or a big full body workout every couple days is also very valuable. So what type of exercise are you doing? That was part of the homework. Are you now eating healthier whole food choices, single ingredient items, as we talked about in the nutrition part? And are you getting sleep? Are you trying to at least go to bed a little earlier to get a better sleep? Are you doing the things we talked about, maybe preparing your room and creating a better environment for sleep? If you're doing homework, you're getting results, I guarantee it. And if you haven't already, taken a picture of yourself, taken some measurements, and maybe even got a scale that can analyze body fat or do some muscle mass, or you can go out and get things like DEXA scans done. There's different ways you can get yourself checked in on for analysis of progress. But all of these things will bring back some detail. None of them are perfect. None of them are going to make or break your journey. They're just going to help you track your progress. So even something as simple as taking a photo of yourself to compare to an older photo that you took a couple weeks back will give you a sense of direction as far as what kind of results you're seeing. And then there's always the non-scale victories, like your clothing. How's your clothing fitting? Is it looser? Is it tighter? Are you trying to build muscle? Are you starting to fill it out better? Are people commenting and noticing? Right? Are you getting some recognition for the work you're putting in? So how do you feel? How do you look and see yourself in the mirror? These are all really, really important things to take a look at as well. What are your energy levels like? Are you getting more energy midday? Are you crashing midday? Are you starting to notice improvements? So today, well, actually, week 3, before I go on, week 3, we talked about energy balance. So if you haven't already seen videos from 1, 2, or 3, please go back, check those out. And again, don't get left behind. Subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss the notifications and get an update when we're going to be putting new videos out. And of course, if you've got someone in your life that you care about, that you want to share this information with, I do this because I love it, guys, genuinely. And I want to be able to reach out to people, but I don't know those people. You do. So if you could please share this video or share our channel and just let them know, hey, there's some free information here. Maybe you'll use it, maybe you won't, but I don't know, and I'm not going to judge, but I do want to see you get healthy. And I know you're working on your health, your fitness, your lifting, your nutrition, your sleep, all those good things. And this guy's been talking about it. So check out the channel. And if you don't like it, you don't have to follow. But we really do believe that you will like it and you will stick around. We've had 30 years of experience in this journey. And I myself have lost 80 pounds. Some of you know my story as an Olympic hopeful for the Australia Olympics in boxing. I was able to get that far into the sport and then suffered a massive injury and ended up missing the Olympic trials, lost my dream that I had worked my whole life for. And with almost 100 amateur boxing matches, the Olympics was going to be the epitome for me. And I ended up missing that. So I went into a state of depression. I started to not care about how I looked, how I felt, what I ate. And the journey became very dark for me. And based on that, I had to find a way to turn my life around because my health and my longevity were in jeopardy. And so, there's a lot of choices you're making right now that may be coming from a place like that. And I want to help you get on the winning side of it. For the last, 25 years or so, it's been a journey of me honing in on the craft, The first 5 years were all education. And again, it still is part of the education because we're in an industry that continues to change. So let's get down to business because there's some changes of things you're going to need to know and things you're going to need to change. So this week, we're not only talking about the energy balance that we talked about last week, calories in and calories out, but what makes up a calorie? If a calorie is a measurement unit, then how many calories are in the food we're eating? Well, we have to break that food down into a couple of different groups to understand that. So welcome to week 4, where we're going to be talking about macronutrients. So you've heard this term before, macronutrients. What are macronutrients? And so I've got some notes, as always, in front of me, and I'm going to read these notes and try to stay on track. So let's get down to business. In the term macronutrients, or you might hear the word macros. A lot of people throw that around. You're going to hear macros, which is short for macronutrients. And in the right mix, these things will play a big part in developing your physique. So what you see on the outside, macronutrients are going to be responsible for. And that means that you could be eating the same amount of calories, but if it's broken down differently into different macronutrients, what you see on the outside could look quite different. And it is different for each person. So there's a lot of nuance and variables here that are going to apply to you. And it takes some trial and error to figure out which ones are the best balance for you. And that's why coaching becomes a journey for us that I like to, give time and be able to hone in on what is the perfect diet for you, because we know that a lot of them can work and none of them can work. It's about sustainability. So we have to find the one that with your name on it. And we're going to create that as we coach together. But in this free series, I'm just going to give you the base, roots of it all, and you can start planting the seeds. So beginning with the 3 majors, here's what you want to write down. The first one is protein. You're going to hear that as a macronutrient, protein. The second one is fat, and this is dietary fat. So you're going to put fat as a macronutrient. And the third one, carbohydrates, or you might hear it referred to as carbs. So for anyone who's brand new to this journey, this might be brand new information to you. Write down protein, fats, carbs. Okay? And in understanding that, now some of you are very advanced and you've heard these terms before. Here's something you might not know. Protein calorically, okay? So write down underneath for energy. Remember we talked about energy in and energy out, calories in, calories out. Protein offers you 4 calories per gram. So you're going to jot that down. 4 calories per gram with protein. Under the fats, I want you to write 9 calories per gram. And then beside carbohydrate or carbs, you're going to write 4 calories per gram. Okay? So which means carbs and proteins are of equal energy value at 4 calories per gram. But fats are 9 calories per gram, which means calorically, fats are the highest of energy per gram exchange. But does that mean that the body uses fats as a main energy source? We're going to have to talk about that. There's a bit of a difference there, and you have to understand it a little bit more. But let's begin with protein today. And so protein is essential to human health, and I've got it listed as providing the body with the greatest source of amino acids and nutrients, which you're going to hear a lot of people talk about branch chain amino acids, which is a collection of aminos that make up a protein. Okay. And inside of those branch chain amino acids are essential amino acids, which are the ones the body can't produce. So this is diving more into the coaching, and I don't want to go too deep, so I'm going to stop myself right there. If you want to know more about aminos and branch chain and essentials, we're going to have to dive into that for you specifically. But today, I just want you to understand that all those aminos make up a protein. Okay, so promoting muscle development. If we're going to keep it simple, think of protein as your repair and rebuild nutrient. So the macronutrient protein comes from specific foods. It goes into your system to help rebuild and repair your cells, is the best way to put it at a simple level. So let me today give you some sources that you can start with. Here is your homework when it comes to protein. You ready? Write this down. First and foremost, if you do consume animal product, okay, animal products like beef, chicken, fish, and eggs are some of the ones I wrote down for you to start with. Put that into your diet if you're not already doing it, and you're going to see improvement right away. Here's another thing. A lot of people already have those in their diet, but they don't know how much. They haven't tracked anything to understand how much protein's in an egg, how much protein's in a chicken breast, how much protein are you going to get from the amount of beef in your container. You're going to have to do a little bit of homework and research, or you're going to hire somebody who knows the answers and can help you speed up the process. When you hire a coach, you're paying for speed and experience. You're speeding up the process. So that is all I'm going to say on that. But I want you to make sure that you understand there's 4 calories of energy in a gram of protein. How many grams of protein are in the item you're choosing? So again, write down the items: chicken, beef, fish, eggs. Maybe you're not someone who consumes animal product, and that's personal choice, personal belief, and you might end up with a source of protein that comes from plant-based. So I'm going to give you beans or lentils. Okay. Now there's going to be other options as well, but protein, you're going to have to do a little research and find out how many grams of protein am I getting in a certain amount of beans? How much weight do I need here in this serving? How many lentils do I need to get? Is it a cup? Is it a half a cup? And how many protein grams am I getting? Those of you who like dairy, aren't lactose intolerant, or could find a dairy with lactose-free type approach, you could get dairy products that also contain protein. So some of you will say, oh, I love cheese and things like that, milk and different dairy products. You can get protein derived from those. So these are some of the sources I'm going to give you today. Write them down. Also, nuts, seeds, and nut butters. Now, these are also going to, excuse me, they're also going to show up in the fats column when we talk about fats, but they also do have some protein carryover as well. So protein, those amino acid cells that we're talking about that are going to rebuild and repair your cells, those are inside nuts and seeds and butters. And then protein supplements, or even tofu, as we talked about, for people who are looking for an approach that doesn't contain animal product. But when we talk about supplements, protein supplements are very effective, very efficient, and they're not going to damage you in the way of health long term. What they are going to do is provide you with a quick injection of protein to the body through drinking them. This becomes very valuable, and we use it a lot in our coaching methods to help people who don't always feel hungry and are having a hard time, because protein is very satiating, which means it leaves you full very, very long, right? And so a lot longer feeling full means that you're most likely going to undereat the amount of protein you need because it's so filling. You could use it in a supplemental form, and you could drink protein with consuming protein and food. We always say choose food first. Okay. So if that's enough to get you started, that's the homework I want you to use in today's free session. When it comes to the macronutrient protein, know that it rebuilds and repairs the cells. So some of you are going to say, well, I want to get more muscular. We're here to learn about how to get more muscle. If you're already exercising and weight training, you need protein to repair everything that you're damaging, because when we exercise, we are damaging the cells, and we're tearing away at the muscle fibers. We're trying to rebuild and repair those stronger than they were before. So keep that in mind. If you want to rebuild and repair, you need those workers to show up. So my analogy is just like a crew of workers who are coming in to rebuild and repair. They can't do that without the supplies. The supplies are in the form of protein. So use the foods I gave you, get the quantities right, and start to implement more protein into your diet. Watch your muscles build. The next ingredient in the macronutrients that we're going to talk about is fat. Now, this was demonized for a lot of years. Remember now, we're talking about 9 calories of energy per gram, which means that you could easily consume a lot of good dietary fats and your calories will rise quickly. This is a good thing for people who are under eating and are told that a reverse diet might be the best thing you could do for your hormones and your energy levels. So many of you are afraid of calories. You're afraid to gain weight. You're afraid to get more fat. So what do? You starve yourself thinking that that's going to solve the problem. That's completely backwards. What's happening is you're detraining your metabolism. You're asking your body to live on a deficit, live in scarcity, live in a poverty state, and get used to it. That's going to lead you down all of what you'd expect it to lead you down, right? You're not going to have any energy to spend. You're not going to have any strength to work out with. You're going to have no ambition, no desire. And for what? No muscle. You're going to lose everything that you want in the form of health. So that what? So that you could see a number on a scale that really has no significance other than it makes you happy because you remember being 18 and that was the number you were then? How much did you weigh when you were 5 years old? How far back do you want to go? It doesn't mean anything, right? Because what is that number if it doesn't come with health? Health is wealth. Health is where you need to be. And in fact, if you're going to get more health, you're going to need more weight. You're going to need to look at reverse the process of this whole weight loss thing and start to reframe it. So, with all of my clients, our goal is reduction of body fat that we don't need and increase everything else. If you gain 3, 5, even 10 pounds of health, you're going to look and feel amazing, way better than you look and feel now. I guarantee it on anyone. I don't care if you're an athlete right now. If we put 5 to 10 pounds of muscle on you, you're going to look and feel better than you already do. If you're completely overweight, completely undertrained, never got off the couch in the last 5 years, if we can put 3 pounds of lean tissue on you, we're going to, by default, have the body encouraged to get rid of unnecessary, unwanted extra body fat. Body fat is a preventative mechanism. It's keeping you warm in cold weather. It's keeping you balanced in stressful times. It's doing everything it can to protect you. Why in the heck would we need more body fat? Only because the body foresees more stress, more anxiety, more troubled times ahead. You've been living in troubled times. You have to fix it. If you're going to get out of troubled times, you got to get in a new place, a new environment, and you got to give yourself an opportunity to succeed. You can't do that in a calorie deficit. Calorie deficit means struggle. And people who have been eating that way say, oh, I'm used to it. I feel full when I've only had 800 calories or, the energy in versus energy out balance. I seem to be okay because your energy out is matching your energy in at a very low and unproductive rate. And yet you sometimes are even asking for more production. So where do fats come in? We're talking about fat, 9 calories per gram, massive amount of energy. But are there good fats? Are there bad fats? Well, we don't like to demonize any particular food because we want you to keep sustainable. But let's listen to this. It's going to come down to the quality of the calories when it comes to the quality of what you take from it. Okay, there's a biology, there's a certain amount of what that food's going to give you. You're going to extract that and use that. If there's no quality in it, then a calorie isn't just a calorie. Okay, they're not equal that way. So what it offers your body is where the difference takes place. You're going to say, some people are going to say, yes, a calorie is a calorie when it comes to one energy unit. Sure, it is. But what can the body extract from that unit? Here's the difference, right? So dietary fat, also very important for human health, great source of energy, great source of nutrients, and vital to hormone production. Now, anyone who's looking to build lean muscle mass, this is really important. Testosterone is the hormonal signal from building muscle mass. Women, you have testosterone as well. Men just have a higher dosage of it. And everyone who wants to build more muscle needs to increase that testosterone signal. And so fats help to actually regulate and create the environment for more hormone to be able to sustain and testosterone levels to come up. So people who have had decreasing testosterone, which in today's industry, there is more and more of it than ever. People coming in with low testosterone levels. You're hearing more about it across social media. People are always looking for hormone replacement therapies to try to get their testosterone levels up. One of the main contributors to this is the fact that people are under eating fat, period. So what do we need to talk about? Let's take a look at some sources. So would a bag of potato chips offer you a lot of fat? Yes, right? We know that. Is it going to be loaded with trans fats? Or is it going to have saturated fat, unsaturated fat, poly or monounsaturated fat? There are some deep dives here that we take into our coaching when I work with you one-on-one. But today, that's not what we're here for. We're here to at least get educated about fat in general and start doing some homework on fixing up our diet, right? So let me help you out. Write these down. Again, we talked about nuts and seeds carrying over into the fats. So you're going to use nuts and seeds and nut butters to see some more fats come into your diet of good quality. The next one will be oils. Coconut oil, olive oil. You can definitely use avocado oil. These are very good for you as well in the way of good fats. So you can add those to your list. Another one I call a superfood, and I really love this one in my diet. Also, a lot of my clients enjoy it because you can eat it in so many different ways, and it's avocado. Avocado can be a really, really great addition to your diet. If you're not already using it, it can be mushed into avocado on toast. It could be avocado with eggs. It could be avocado with chicken. Remember, there's going to be an oily substance to the avocado because it's good fats, and it becomes like avocado oil, which you can also use in teaspoons of olive oil or avocado oil. Sorry. But this is really important. So add avocado to your diet, and you're going to see major improvements. The next one is eggs. Yes, they fell into the protein, but notice the carryover here. They also fall into the good fats category in the way of adding healthy dietary fat. Eggs have been studied to prove to be one of the best protein sources you're going to get, the most complete profiles of protein. But the yellow part of that egg is where the fats are and the most amount of protein as well. How many years were we told to just stay away from eggs, and especially that yellow part of the egg, that high cholesterol? Stop with the fear marketing. That's the part that really frustrates me the most. I want you, and as my clients, as my team, as the people who follow our channel, to understand that you should be eating eggs, at least 2 or 3 a day. And if you think that you're eating one and that's protein, you're reaching your goal, you're nowhere near where you need to be. We've got a lot of work to do. And that's why I love working with people one-on-one or in a group, because I get a chance to really hone in and help you. But today, again, generalizing, we're talking avocado and eggs. And then we're going to put, of course, when it comes to fats, some of those ones that you're going to get through animal sources are extremely valuable. So salmon, beef, and of course, egg yolk, as we talked about. These are a little bit more of where the fats are coming in through the protein source. And again, salmon or cold water fish, high fat content. So, and these are some of the things you're going to find, like beef through pork and things like that. You're going to find fattier cuts of meat. So not everybody's hooked on just plain white chicken breast, that boring old bodybuilder style diet. Okay. It's not sustainable for most people. Think about having a fattier cut of meat and using those fat calories to help you. And again, we've talked a lot about the hormonal benefits of fat. That's what I really want you to focus on here, is what it's going to do for your digestive and for your vitamin absorption. Because again, there are certain vitamins, A, D, E, vitamin K, they're only fat soluble, which means you've got to have dietary fat available for those particular vitamins to even digest in the first place. Or else you're wasting your time or your money on the vitamin because it's going in, going out. It's not getting absorbed. So again, we cover a lot of things in coaching. I'm happy to bring you coaching today, at least to this level where you can get a base understanding. And even those of you who are at a high level don't have some of this information, I'm happy to be able to give that to you. I know there was a time I didn't have any of this information, and that's why I'm here today, because I became a coach through my own experiences of people seeing my transformation and saying, can you show me what you did? It'll speed it up for me so I don't have to get the literature and I don't have to spend the next 5 years trying things and seeing how they play out. I want to go right to the finish line as quick as possible. Aren't we in a world today where everybody wants things quicker, faster, more easily, readily available? Of course we are. So that's why you're here. Again, happy to have you guys in the channel. Thank you. The next and final of the macronutrients, carbohydrates. All right. Now, this one's been demonized. It's been led to believe that carbs make you fat. Carbs do not make you fat. Energy surplus makes you fat. Energy surplus means there's leftover energy. Leftover energy has to be stored somewhere on the body. And the carbohydrate, because it is a readily available energy source, is going to be the body's first and foremost choice. And that's where the difference is. Fats have 9 calories per gram of energy. Carbs only have 4 calories per gram of energy. So you would think the body would be likely to want to use the fat, but it doesn't. The body chooses glycogen and sugars for quick, readily available energy. So when you're putting carbs into the system, the body's going to prefer to use those first at 4 calories per gram. So you can easily eat a lot of carbs, a lot of grams, because the body's choosing and asking for more of that. This is why sugar becomes extremely highly addictive. It's going to the brain saying, give me more of that. That's that quick fix, readily available energy. We're going to ask you to use it wisely. There's nothing wrong with carbs, but timing them is something you'll really want to take a look at. So I'm going to give you some lists of important carbs that you should be adding to your diet so you can at least get the right things in and maybe start to make better choices. And removing some of the other ones doesn't mean they need to be eliminated. But if you fill up on the good stuff, there'll be less room for the bad stuff. And I shouldn't say good or bad because that's not what we're here for. We're here to actually just see what we can get nutritional value from, or non-serving nutrition. So if there's no nutrients in it, but there's still calories in it, it's not offering your body anything other than some kind of a dopamine hit that you might get temporarily, like say, something like ice cream. It's going to be loaded with sugar. It's going to have a ton of dopamine hit to the brain. It's going to feel so good in the moment. You might eat it because you're emotionally eating. I'm sad, so I'm going to eat a bucket of ice cream. Then I'm going to be even more sad because that's going to show up on my hips and my waist. And I'm going to hate what I see in the mirror. Then I'm going to feel really bad about myself. I'm going to call myself bad names. I'm going to talk to myself like I'd never, ever talk to even my best friend. You see what I'm saying? Right? It becomes a downward spiral. Why? Because you chose the ice cream. Does it mean you can't choose the ice cream? No, it doesn't mean that. There are times where a little bit of that ice cream is going to feel and be very valuable to you. And that's fine if that's you. So that all comes with the coaching. We really got to dive deeper to find out, where that addictive personality might be coming from, or what we can do to help regulate balance in your life. But let's get back to carbs. Better choices, single ingredient foods. That's the way to keep an eye on this, okay? So when we think about carbs, there's always the processed conversation we had back in episode 1 when we talked about processing. Try to get food from field to fork, you know what I mean? As we talked about, in its natural state, don't have it processed. So here are some of the ones you're going to get the best carbohydrates from. First and foremost, vegetable. Vegetables are going to bring you all of the micronutrients, the vitamins and the minerals that you need to get into your gut, into your system, your microbiome. We need to absorb more. How many people out there are not eating enough vegetable? And if that means enough in the way of, like, say, even 2 to 3 servings a day, a serving of vegetable could be about the size of your fist, right? How many servings are you having a day of that much vegetable? That could be a handful of different veggies like broccoli, cauliflower, lettuce, spinach leaves, whatever. And are you getting 2 to 3 of those handfuls a day? Some people make a big salad a day. These are some great tips and strategies, but at the end of the day, we got to get more vegetables. Fruit will be the next thing on the list. How much fruit are you consuming in a day? Yes, there's sugar in there. But again, we're talking about fruit sugar. It is a little better choice than the candy and the processing of just the amounts of how many Sour Patch Kids can you eat in a sitting, right? I've talked to you about my son and I having a laugh at a little Halloween bag of Sour Patch Kids where there's like 4 little Sour Patches in there. The amount of calories that were attached to that were more than 1 apple. Yet that apple will offer us nutrients we can use. The 4 Sour Patch Kids did not offer us anything we can really use. So here's what we're talking about here. Nutrient that you can actually use. So write down vegetables, write down fruit, and then here are a few others that you can use, and they may be favorites of yours and they may not be. Rice, beans, quinoa, pasta, and bread. Now, pasta and bread, bit of a caveat there. A lot of times we want to stay away from the white flour, and we want to try to find a grain or a wheat source that you can trust. Okay. And some of people are going to really split hairs over it and dive into that's been sprayed with pesticides and, things like oatmeal. They've sprayed the fields for bugs and things like that. And yes, to some degree, they have to do these things to regulate the quality of the amount of food we're getting to our table. But at the end of the day, it's a matter of, if you're going to choose the carbs, you're making better choices. And then what you believe is your belief. So you can find ways where there is no additives. You can look for organic, where it's been controlled in a better environment. If you're willing to go that deep into it, awesome, good, great for you. If you're not, and you just want to get the base advice, it's still going to be a better choice. So if you're choosing white bread and you're having that and feeding that to your family, you're loading them up on flour and sugar with no nutrients. Could you at least be choosing healthier versions of that to get started with some wheat, some grain, and a different source? Think about that. That's going to be your homework this week as we talk about going into each of these macronutrients, proteins, carbs, and fats, and making better choices this week. All right. So the last one coming in the carb here is soft drinks. Okay. And I know that there's a few people out there listening to our show right now, and you're saying, I love having a soda. I love having a pop. I love having even a Diet Coke or whatever you like to have. Everybody's got some form of soft drink or drink that they like, right? And even if you go to a restaurant, you don't always choose water, right? Some people choose alcohol and some people choose a pop or a soda. Most of the time you're going to be getting a heavy dosage of sugar. And so this is another area where you have to count that not only what you eat, but what you drink are calories. And a lot of people are drinking their calories. So if you can switch to a artificially sweetened beverage, I know there are people who are going to hit the comments and be like, artificial sweeteners are bad for you. Again, there are a lot of studies being done, but none of them coming back with enough evidence as a whole to change the industry and say that artificial sweeteners should absolutely be stopped. There's a lot of mixed information out there right now in everything that I've studied and the people that I listen to and any research that I do. I have not seen the evidence to support that artificial sweeteners are something that need to be taken out of your diet. So do you still have the option to choose a Diet Coke or a Coke Zero or a Pepsi Zero or whatever it is? I would say yes to that. And definitely say no to the regular, fully sugar-loaded, 9 to 14 teaspoons of sugar added. Those are definitely not going to help you. Okay. So if anything, you're going to switch to a diet version if you have to, or switch to a completely different drink altogether. Alcohol, obviously a whole other conversation when it comes to carb, comes to sugar. So we have to really consider that as well. But those are the foods in the lists. So again, you should have a list of proteins after today. You have a list of fats and a list of carbohydrates and an understanding of what they all do for your body. So remember, protein, the rebuilder and the repair. The fats, hormonal digestion, vitamin absorption, even lubrication of the joints. Good fats, healthy for the brain. Your brain is made up of fats. Okay, these are really important for the body. And then, of course, when it comes to readily available energy, carbohydrates are your prime fuel for performance. So if you're going to be active, you're going to do a workout, get the carbohydrates for that. You can use them before and after. And again, we dive into this deep into coaching so it can make sense for you the same way that I have it work for me. Over the years, it's been getting better and better, understanding and application. And I'll tell you this, implementation will always beat information. You can sit with all the knowledge you have, books and books of knowledge. But if it's all that it is, it's only ever going to sit right there. You're never going to change your situation. You got to implement. So take what I'm giving you today, do the homework, come back and leave a comment and say, this episode changed my life. This is the one that broke through for me. I went in and I started adding more of those protein foods, and I wasn't afraid of how much of those I ate. I knew they were worth 4 calories for a gram. So I went after it, and I had almost a gram per pound of my body weight in protein. And boom, I am seeing muscle development. I'm seeing gains that I never thought possible. And I'm losing body fat finally because I've got more calories, not less calories. Quit starving yourself thinking you're going to get muscle built, thinking you're going to get leaner. You're just pushing your body further and further into a very unhappy state. Get happy, get feeling good, build the hormones up, use the good fats, build your nutrition. And I tell you, you're going to see a major difference. I hope this is really sinking in and getting through for people. So now I decided that I would write down some of the questions that we get that would need to be addressed just so you have a better understanding. Okay. So a common question, I heard that carbs make you fat. Is that true? Well, we kind of addressed that already. 0 studies to prove that carbs make you fat other than any more than any other macronutrient. Okay. So if this was the case, every diet study in history would prove that no carb diets are the best, but they don't. If you've ever done carnivore diet, keto style diet, Atkins diet, anywhere where they've reduced carbs, all they're doing there is reducing or eliminating something. That's called restriction. Taking a carb out is just restricting the amount of total calories. Remember that total calories at the end of the day are your weight gain or your weight loss. But that was energy in versus energy out, week 3. Week 4, you should be smarter than that by now. You should know that the calories in have to be consistent and consisting of these macronutrients. If you remove a macronutrient, you've got to make up for it in one of the other 2 macros that you're leaving on the table. And 2 of them are going to be essential. which means protein and fats you will die without. Carbohydrates are non-essential. You can survive without ever eating a carbohydrate in your life. But will you thrive? Totally different story. And can you sustain a world where we have an abundance of carbohydrate foods around us? Will you still be able to get enough vitamin and mineral if all you eat is protein and fat with no carbs? This is another challenge for most people. And again, you're going to claim, oh, I lost 30 pounds doing this diet. Again, loss isn't what we're chasing. Stop chasing loss. If I asked you, were you happy that you lost your dog? Were you happy that you lost your house, your car, your kids? No one's ever happy to lose anything. But why is it we chase and glorify losing when it comes to health? Oh, yeah, I lost 30 pounds of health. You think that the 30 pounds you lost was all fat? Probably not. Okay, you're losing muscle mass in the process. That's health. You're losing water. That's health. You're losing organ function. That's health. You're losing blood levels. That's health. You're losing a lot of the things that we need. Your vitamin and mineral, very important to the body. And again, I'm going to get passionate. I'm going to get off track, and I'm going to pull myself back. So let's get back into this. Okay. Of all the successful diets that are out there, there's two things in common. Diets created at energy deficit use up more energy than consumed. People in the study adherent to actual diet. Again, I'm reading notes that I wrote down just so I can try to make sense of them on the fly. This is live. I'm not editing this. So basically, the energy deficit, using up more energy, is what we're talking about when you're trying to create deficit. I want to create surplus for most of you. So let's try to get you guys into understanding that if you're going to increase, if you want to cut carbs, that's fine, but you're going to have to increase fats and you're going to have to increase protein, and you're not doing enough if you're not hitting your calorie balance at the end of the day. So let's try to make sure that there's an energy balance there that makes sense to you. Okay. You're not struggling through the day. So let's go to the second question here. Moderate carb intake. Let's see here. What about people with type 2 diabetes? People with type 2 diabetes could potentially benefit from low carb and protein, right? So lowering carbs, as we just talked about, due to the impaired hormone insulin sensitivity. And this is important because a lot of people today are battling with sugar. So if you're having a sugar issue, cutting carbs is probably a really good solution. Also, considering that I talked about carbs being valuable for you to have readily available energy to use, then if you're reducing carbs, you're going to have less energy. But most of the time, the people who are suffering with high sugar, insulin resistance are fairly inactive people in the first place. And I hate to have to say that, but that's the truth. Our population mostly looking to watch Netflix marathons versus working out and being consistent and going for walks. So here's a quick tip, guys. If you want to regulate your blood sugar, after you eat every meal, go for a 15-minute walk and help with your blood sugar regulation and digestion. And I also want you to be able to understand that if you're less active, then carbohydrates can definitely come down. But someone who is highly active, I would highly recommend using carbs. All right. Now, everybody's a little different, and there's a lot of nuance to that. So don't say, well, this is the only way to succeed, or it's not. If you jump into one camp all in, I guarantee you 10 years from now, let's have a talk and let's see where you're at. And I'm going to bet you've changed your position on some of what you thought you were all in on. The real answer is life is about balance, and I want balance for you. So if I can help you in your situation, that's where coaching comes in. And so if you're someone who's struggling with insulin resistance and diabetes, we have to dive deeper. We've got to get you situated because there's going to be benefits to exercise and nutrition and sleep quality, like we talked about the pillars, but we've got to get them right for you. Okay. So it's really important. I've had a few people ask, do I have to drink protein shakes in order to succeed? The answer is no. A protein shake, think of it as a blended version of food. So it can be very valuable, as I talked about, on a day where you're not hungry. Maybe you're sick. You don't have an appetite. Your body's battling other things and it's using energy for that. Maybe a shake would be the best answer on those days. So I'm going to get you to do the homework and try to increase protein this week through food. But you can also use supplementation if that means getting a little extra above and beyond the normal 1, 2, or 3 meals you're having a day. So a lot of different conversations to be had within all of this information, guys. But at the end of the day, it's about you getting quality nutrients, meeting your caloric needs for energy. Energy is calories. Calories are energy. Remember, I said interchangeable back in a previous episode. So if all this is making sense to you, fantastic. Put in the comments who you are, where you're from, and how this is helping you. Again, be kind. We're not here to be, idiots or jerks to each other. Creating a supportive environment is something that we're all looking for. We're all looking for a team to be on. We're all looking for a family we can be proud of. So I want to put that out there to you on social media today. That again, precision elite training is something that has been building for over 25 to 30 years now, and it's something that started with me as the very first client. I had to go through my own journey, and in that journey, I was alone. I did have people that I was relying on for some information and some help, and I had to pay for most of that. There was very little free information when I started. Now you can turn to YouTube and you can get free information all over the place. But with free information comes the fact that you don't know whether you can trust it or not. So what you're looking for is, has this person gotten results for themselves? Has this person gotten results for anyone else that they've ever worked with? And is their system and their belief and their implementation working for people on a regular basis? Was it a one-off fluke, or is it seeming to be where the information I'm looking at here has a track record that shows success? And can it work for me? That's the last question. Well, if it's working for everybody else and there's going to be some nuance and some individualization that's going to need to be done, there's a good chance it will work for you. But you're going to need to at least trust it, like the person you're dealing with, right? And then implement their system and ask for the changes and the variables that need to be adjusted to you. And then it becomes your journey and you'll start to see. So with precision elite training, that was the purpose of it all. Was I started to train people, and in the beginning I was still learning as well how to adapt what I was doing to other people. And it's not teaching other people what you do or what you did, it's telling them how you got there, giving them some options, letting them figure out within that which ones are working best for them. And through all of the experience I've ever gotten, we've had clients at the most end losing up to 120 to 130 pounds in a year. That's pretty amazing, right? 120, 130 pounds. I mean, nobody really needs to lose that unless you're way up there. And if you are on, that last 10 pounds and you're just struggling to break a plateau, there's going to be some fine little details, little knobs that you need to turn that are going to make all the difference. But you pay big money to specialists who know which knob to turn. And when they can do that for you, boom, your life changes with one little turn of the correct knob. Or you can spend the next 10 years turning all the knobs, hoping you find the one that's going to move the needle for you. Okay? Pay for speed. And that's what I'm talking about. I don't mean me. I mean anyone you can trust. I hope that you like me. I hope that you trust me. You're getting to know me. And by session 5, we're going to dive into some of the foods and the choices that help you make better macronutrient balance so that we can understand protein, carbs, and fats at a better balance overall for you. But first, you got to spend a week starting to implement the foods we talked about today. Okay. So very, very important, guys. Let's go over the key points before we leave today. And I thank you for joining us. So again, before we leave, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, move your little cursor down, find subscribe and click on it. Make sure you share the video and let anyone else who needs it in their life get into this. Okay, so food quantity and choices are a huge part of achieving your goals. Getting adequate protein is going to be the main focus of your calories. Get that protein to your body. Mixing up your training, when we go back to exercise, is going to be something you want to do over time. You don't want to plateau. So any one of you who's out there, I don't care if you're a beginner or if you're athlete at the top of your game, you do have to periodize your training. You can't get through the same thing over and over and expect a different result. Once you've adapted, the body's going to stay adapted. So if you've plateaued, listen to me. If you've plateaued, you need to reach out for help. You've got to do something different to get something different to happen. The body is a highly adaptable organism, and measuring your body weight alone is not an accurate short-term assessment of progress. There are other ways to assess your progress, and that's going to be really important that you do some of the things I talked about earlier, the non-scale victories, and take a look at those. So if you want to look better, feel better, and perform better, you've got to put all the information that we've given you in the first 4 weeks together. And I'd love to hear about it. Genuinely, I'd love to hear about it. So please come back and comment and let us know if any of this or all of this is changing the game for you. And I will look forward to seeing you guys in week 5 next week. So stay tuned for that one. And if it turns out you're watching the replays and you're just binge watching one after another, then I hope that you're enjoying the show. Thank you guys so much. My name is Coach Lalonde, and I really am looking forward to seeing you, hearing about your results in the comments or in person on a Zoom call, team chat, whatever it is. Know that Precision Elite Training is here. We've won the awards for the last 3 years as top online trainer, specialist, nutrition, because we've been putting in the work, learning the new information, and helping clients around the world just like you get those results. I can't wait to hear your story, and I'll see you next week.